I used to think love would come with fireworks, bright, loud, impossible to hide. But when Aiden came into my life, love arrived quietly. It crept in like sunlight through half-closed curtains, soft and gentle, until I didn't even realize I was already basking in it. Aiden wasn't the kind of alpha who dominated a room. He had a calm presence, steady eyes, low voice, and that faint, reassuring scent that always made my heart slow down. When he smiled, it felt like the world stopped rushing for a moment. I remember the first time he said my name. It wasn't just the sound of it, it was how he said it, like he was memorizing it. At first, everything between us was simple. We met through a business errand, nothing more. But soon he started showing up at the cafe where I worked part-time, staying until closing just to finish some reports. He'd watch me clean the counter, sometimes offering to help, though I knew someone like him had never wiped a table in his life. Then one evening as I was locking up, he offered to walk me home. I told him it wasn't necessary, but he smiled in that quiet, persuasive way that always disarmed me. "It's late," he said. "I'd rather know you're safe." That night he didn't kiss me. He didn't even touch me. But something shifted. From then on, he became a constant, texting good morning, asking if I'd eaten, sending short, warm messages that made my chest tighten. Our relationship grew in secret. We never called it love, but that's what it was, at least for me. On weekends, he'd drive me out of the city to a small cabin near the hills, a place that felt like another world. He'd cook breakfast while humming under his breath, tease me for sleeping in, and pull me close while the rain tapped gently on the windows. In those quiet moments, I forgot everything else. His powerful family, his endless meetings, the fact that he always left before dawn on Sundays. I told myself he was busy, that he needed time before introducing me to his world. "Someday," he'd say, brushing his thumb across my cheek, "when things are settled, I want everyone to know about you." I believed him. Because I wanted to. When you love someone, you build a version of them in your mind. A version who never lies, never hides, never hurts you. I lived inside that version of Aiden for months. I trusted his half-answers, accepted his sudden disappearances, ignored the way his phone always stayed face down when we were together. But lately, something had changed. He'd grown distant, still kind, still gentle, but quieter. His messages became shorter, his visits less frequent. Every time I tried to ask if something was wrong, he'd give me that tired smile and say, "Work's been heavy lately. Don't worry, sweetheart. You know I'll always come back." I wanted to believe him, but a small ache had started forming beneath my ribs, a dull, gnawing worry that maybe I wasn't enough anymore. The last time I saw him was 2 weeks ago. He had come to the cabin, looking exhausted. We didn't talk much. He held me, kissed me softly, and fell asleep in my arms before midnight. When I woke the next morning, he was gone. No message, no note. Just his scent left on the pillow beside mine. Since then, silence. At first, I told myself he was busy again, that he'd call when things calmed down. But days stretched into weeks, and every time I picked up my phone, my heart would jump at the smallest vibration, only to fall again. I tried to focus on work, on the routine of everyday life, but everything reminded me of him. The smell of his cologne lingered on my scarf. The sound of rain against the windows brought back the cabin. Even the sunlight felt colder without his warmth beside me. That night, loneliness finally caught up to me. It was late, past midnight. My apartment was silent except for the faint hum of the city outside. I sat on my bed, scrolling through our old messages. "Good morning, my little dreamer. You looked so tired today. Don't skip meals, okay? I'll see you soon. I promise." My chest tightened. I had reread those lines so many times they felt carved into my skin. I missed his voice, his arms around me, the way he always made me feel safe. Without thinking, I opened the camera. My reflection looked pale under the soft light, eyes red, lips trembling. I whispered his name, as if he could hear me through the screen. "Do you even think about me anymore, Aiden?" I murmured. I hit record. Not to seduce him, but to reach him somehow, to remind him that I was still here, still waiting. I spoke softly, honestly, letting every bit of longing slip into my voice. When I was done, I stared at the short clip for a long moment, my thumb hovering over the send button. It was reckless. I knew that. But my heart was louder than reason. I needed him to see me, to remember what we had. Finally, I attached the video and typed the words that had been stuck in my throat for weeks. I miss you. My pulse pounded as the message sent. The little bubble disappeared, replaced by a single checkmark. Then two. Delivered. For a moment, relief flooded me. It felt like a small victory, like I had broken through the silence between us. I imagined him seeing it, smiling softly, maybe calling me right away. But as the minutes passed, the screen stayed dark. No reply. No typing bubble. Just silence. I tried to sleep but couldn't. Every few minutes I checked my phone again. Still nothing. Eventually, exhaustion won, and I drifted off with the phone still in my hand. The next morning, I woke to a strange unease, like the air around me had changed. I checked my messages again. Still no response. I stared at the screen, whispering, "Please, Aiden, say something." But nothing came. I didn't know it then, but somewhere across the city, someone else had seen that message. Someone who wasn't supposed to. Someone whose life was already tied to Aiden's in a way I could never have imagined. And that single, desperate text, the one I sent with trembling hands and a heart full of love, had just set fire to the beautiful lie I'd been living in. When I woke up that morning, sunlight filled my room, but everything felt heavy. The kind of morning where silence presses on your chest. No reply from Aiden. No missed call. Nothing. At first I told myself he was in a meeting, or asleep, or that maybe his phone had died. I clung to those small excuses the way a drowning man clings to a broken board. I made coffee I didn't drink and checked my phone again. Still no response. The message just sat there, unread. It shouldn't have bothered me so much, but something about it felt wrong, like a door had opened somewhere I couldn't see. By afternoon, uneasiness settled deep inside me. I texted again, just a short line. "Did you get my message?" Minutes passed. Nothing. That was when the first strange thing happened. At 3 p.m., my phone buzzed, an unknown number. I thought maybe it was Aiden calling from his office line. I answered too quickly. Silence. Then a soft breath. A man's voice, controlled but cold. "Is this Ren?" "Yes, who's this?" He paused, and when he spoke again, the sweetness in his tone was sharp enough to cut. "Next time you want to send something to Aiden, make sure it's really his phone." My heart stopped. What do you mean?" But the line went dead. I stood there for a long time, staring at my reflection in the dark phone screen. His words replayed again and again until they finally sank in. Not his phone. Someone else had received it. My hands trembled. I dialed Aiden's number immediately, but it rang once and went to voicemail. I tried again and again, until my fingers ached. No answer. That night I barely slept. Every sound outside my window made me flinch. I imagined all kinds of things. His phone stolen, hacked, lost. I wanted to believe that. I needed to. But deep down, fear whispered something else. The next morning, I couldn't focus at work. My manager scolded me twice for zoning out, and I finally stepped outside for air. That's when I saw it, Aiden's car parked across the street. My heart leapt. He'd come. I ran toward it before I could think. The tinted window rolled down just enough for me to see his face. He looked tired, more than tired, almost sick. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, and his jaw was tense. "Aiden," I breathed. "You didn't reply." I was worried. He interrupted quietly, "Ren not here?" Something in his voice stopped me cold. It wasn't anger, it was fear. We drove to a quiet side street, away from the main road. He didn't look at me once. When he finally parked, he exhaled shakily. "There's been a problem." My stomach turned. "What kind of problem?" He rubbed his temples. "My backup phone. I let someone use it while theirs was getting repaired." I frowned, confused. "Someone? Who?" He hesitated too long. That hesitation said everything. Then, softly, "Evan." The name hit me like ice water. I'd heard it before, but only once, mentioned casually. An old family friend, he'd said months ago. I never asked more. I forced out, and he saw the message? Aiden's eyes closed. He didn't need to answer. I could already feel my world tilting. I'm so sorry, he whispered. You saw everything. Everything. The word felt like a blade twisting inside me. For a long time, neither of us spoke. I could hear my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. Who is he to you, Aiden? I finally asked. My voice cracked on his name. His silence was louder than any confession. When he finally spoke, it was quiet. He's my fiancé. The air left my lungs. What? I didn't plan for this, he said quickly, reaching for my hand. It was arranged before I met you. My family, they expect it. I just needed time to figure things out. I pulled my hand back. You told me we had a future. You said, I know. His voice broke. I never wanted to hurt you. The words meant nothing now. My chest ached so badly it was hard to breathe. I wanted to scream, to cry, but all that came out was a whisper. You lied to me. I'm trying to fix this, he said. Please, just stay quiet for now. Evan is upset. I'll talk to him, calm things down. No one else has to know. Stay quiet. That's all I was ever supposed to be. Quiet, hidden, convenient. He dropped me off near my apartment without another word. As his car disappeared, I stood there numb, watching the taillights vanish like the last bit of warmth in my life. That night I couldn't eat. Couldn't think. My phone buzzed once more, another unknown number. This time, the message was a photo. It was my own message, the one I'd sent, the 3 words that had started everything. Below it, a caption. You really thought he was yours? My hands shook so badly I nearly dropped the phone. Whoever it was, they knew. Another message came seconds later. You'll regret it if you don't disappear. No name. No picture. But I knew who it was. Evan. I sat there in the dark, clutching the phone, heart hammering. The realization sank in slowly. He wasn't just angry, he wanted to destroy me. I tried calling Aiden again, desperate for him to stop this before it spiraled. He didn't answer. For the first time since meeting him, I felt truly alone. Sleep never came. I kept imagining Evan reading through every word Aiden and I had shared, every confession, every dream, every small memory we'd built in secret. He would twist them, use them, until there was nothing left of me but shame. By dawn, I understood that my life had quietly begun to crumble. A single message sent in love had turned into a weapon in someone else's hands. And as the sun rose, my phone buzzed one last time. A voice message. Deadly. Stay away from him, or everyone will know who you really are. The line went silent. I sat there, trembling, the morning light spilling across my floor like accusation. Somewhere out there Aiden's perfect world was already cracking, and I was the fracture he was trying to hide. But I knew one thing now. This wasn't just about love anymore. It was about survival. The first time it happened, I didn't even realize what was happening. I was at work, stacking files in the quiet of the office storage room, when someone's phone buzzed next to me. I glanced over and froze. A colleague, grinning in a way that didn't make sense, held it up. My phone. Or at least a screen with my name on it, highlighted in bright red. A photo. Just a small, cropped image. But enough to make my stomach drop. Enough to make the air around me crack like ice. I grabbed it, trembling, but they laughed and walked away, showing it to anyone nearby. Whispers followed me down the hall. Isn't that? He's the one Aiden's been seeing? I can't believe it. My heart hammered so violently I thought it would burst from my chest. Every eye in the office felt like it was drilling into me. Some people avoided me, some stared, some whispered just loud enough for me to hear. And the worst part? Aiden didn't show up. He didn't call. Didn't send a single word. By mid-afternoon, it escalated. Someone had printed screenshots, small slips of paper that made their way to my desk. They had photos, snippets of our messages, and the one line I'd sent weeks ago, I miss you. I stared at the paper as though it were fire, my hands shaking too much to crumple it. Then came the call. A known number. You should have listened, said a voice I recognized immediately. Cold. Controlled. Deadly. Evan. I don't understand. Please stop, I stammered, my throat dry. You'll understand soon enough. Don't try to hide from me, Rin. Everyone will see who you really are if you do. He hung up. I sat frozen at my desk. Every whisper, every glance, every titter of laughter made me shrink inside myself. I had thought our love, Aiden's love, would protect me. I had thought the world didn't matter when we were together. I was wrong. The next day it got worse. I was walking to my car after a long, silent shift when a group of people from my office appeared in the parking lot. Their phones were out. Some of them whispered, some laughed outright. I tried to walk past, but one of them stepped in front of me, holding a phone with the message I had sent, enlarged and clear. Hey, care to explain this? I froze, my face burning. It's private. Please. Private? Really? He sneered, tilting the screen toward the others. Seems like everyone should know about this. Aren't you the one Aiden's been seeing? My legs went weak. I could barely speak. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the world, leaving nothing but heat and shame in its place. I wanted to disappear. I wanted to vanish from their eyes, from the world, from the humiliation I couldn't stop. I tried calling Aiden. Desperately. He didn't answer. By the third day, rumors had spread everywhere. Friends I trusted looked at me differently, colleagues avoided me in the hallways, and strangers whispered as I walked past. He's the homewrecker. The other Omega. The words rang like a chorus in my ears, relentless and cruel. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. Every vibration of my phone made my chest jump in fear. I felt hunted, exposed, weak. And yet, Aiden still said nothing. I confronted him over the phone once, voice shaking so badly I could barely breathe. Why aren't you saying anything? Why won't you defend me? There was silence on the other end. Then a soft, broken sigh. You don't understand. If I say anything, it could ruin everything. Only my career, we can't risk it. Everything? Everything? What about us? What about what we have? I love you, he said finally. His words were soft, fragile, almost drowned out by my own screaming heart. But I can't choose you right now. I can't lose everything else. I felt my soul fracture. The man I had trusted with everything, the one I loved more than I could explain, had left me to be burned. By the fifth day, it became unbearable. I was cornered in public again, this time at a cafe. Someone had posted my messages online. Someone had recognized me. People I didn't even know were pointing, whispering. I tried to shrink into myself, hide in the shadows, but there was nowhere to run. And then, Evan appeared. He didn't say much. Didn't shout. Didn't even glare. He just stood there, composed, but I could feel the weight of his fury pressing down on me. His eyes locked onto mine, calm but lethal. You're learning the hard way, he said softly, almost like he was congratulating me. I warned you. Now everyone knows your place. I couldn't respond. My throat was dry. My mind was blank. My legs wanted to give out, but I forced myself to stand. Every muscle in me wanted to flee, to vanish, to be anywhere but there. You'll regret ever stepping into his life, he added. I promise you that. I turned away, stumbling into the street, my heart hammering. People were still whispering, watching, laughing. It felt like the world had been painted over in shame. Every step I took was heavy. Every breath burned. That night, I packed a small bag. Clothes. My laptop. Essentials. Nothing more. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't stay, not after the public shame, not after Evan's threats, and most of all, not with Aiden refusing to stand beside me. I left a note on my desk. Just a few words. I'm sorry. I can't stay. And then I vanished. The city, my life, the humiliation, it all receded behind me as I walked into the night. I didn't look back. Not once. All I felt was the emptiness where my heart used to be. I had loved him. I had trusted him. I had given him everything. And he had let me burn. But one thing was clear. I would survive. Somehow. I had to. And one day, when I was stronger, I would return. But not tonight. Tonight, I was just a broken omega, leaving everything and everyone I had loved behind. I didn't plan to come back. For months, no years, I rebuilt myself in silence. A new city, a new life, new routines. My heart had hardened where it had been shattered, and I learned to walk without trembling at the thought of anyone looking at me, whispering about me, judging me. I was untouchable now. Not because I was stronger, but because I refused to let anyone see the pieces of me they had shattered. Yet here I was, standing in the lobby of a high-rise conference hall, my reflection mirrored in the polished floors. My life had brought me here, business meetings, invitations I never thought I'd accept, and somehow fate had decided it wasn't done with me yet. And there he was. Aiden. I froze the moment I saw him. Older, wearier, but still that same composed alpha I had loved. His hair slightly longer, suit perfectly tailored, but there was a tension in his shoulders I had never noticed before. He hadn't seen me yet. Or maybe he had, and the hesitation in his step was all I needed to know. I wanted to turn and walk away. I wanted to disappear like I had before. But curiosity, anger, and the faintest whisper of longing rooted me to the spot. And then, Evan appeared. His presence was sharp, controlled, and everything about him screamed power. The same calm fury I remembered from years ago now coated in confidence and authority. He didn't look at me, but I could feel his awareness like a knife. I breathed deeply and stepped forward. I refused to look away. I didn't need to see Aiden's face to know he recognized me. The subtle stiffening of his shoulders, the slight hitch in his breathing, it spoke volumes. And I saw the flicker of regret in his eyes, just a flash, before he masked it with composure. Evan, however, was different. His gaze followed me, calculating, like he was measuring what damage I could still do. I felt a thrill of power. I had been broken once, humiliated publicly. Now I was untouchable. He didn't know that yet. It started small. A brief word here, a glance there. Aiden tried to speak, words faltering on his lips, but Evan's hand on his arm stopped him. My pulse raced, not with fear, but anticipation. Ren, Aiden finally whispered when we were alone, voice low, urgent. I didn't expect you here. I didn't expect to see you either, I said calmly, my voice steady. No tremor, no pleading. Just cold, unshakable certainty. Funny how life works. He hesitated. His eyes were soft, filled with something I couldn't name. Guilt. Regret. Longing. But his lips pressed into a thin line. He was still Aiden, but he was no longer mine. Can we talk? He asked cautiously. I think all the talking was done a long time ago, I said. My hands were relaxed at my sides, but I felt ready for anything. I had rehearsed this moment in my head for years. I had imagined confronting them, seeing their faces, and now it was real. And Evan, he finally looked at me. His sharp, calculating gaze met mine. He didn't smile, didn't say anything. He simply acknowledged me. I knew what he was thinking. You're back. But you don't scare me. I smiled faintly. You underestimated me once. Don't make that mistake again. The tension was electric. For the first time, I realized how much power I held. Not because I was an omega, not because I had any leverage, but because I had survived. I had walked away from everything they thought could break me. And I had returned. Aiden stepped closer, desperation softening his posture. Rin. I raised a hand, stopping him. Don't. You left me when it mattered most. You chose silence. You chose fear over us. That's a choice I can't forget, or forgive. His shoulders slumped, as if the weight of every regret in the world had landed there. But I didn't wait for him to beg. I didn't need closure, didn't need answers. I was here to reclaim myself, not to rebuild something broken. Evan's lips curved into the smallest smirk. Looks like the little omega isn't so little anymore, he said. There was a challenge in his voice, the same threat he had whispered years ago. But now I didn't flinch. You should have left me alone, I said softly. But you didn't. And I survived. You see me now, standing unbroken. The room was silent. Aiden looked at me, desperate, silent. Evan's eyes were sharp, measuring. And I realized then that I held the final power. Not revenge, not anger, but freedom. I stepped past them. Not in defeat. Not in surrender. But in triumph. Because I had survived the humiliation, the threats, and the heartbreak. And no one, not Aiden, not Evan, could ever take that from me. For the first time in years, I felt the weight of my own strength. The past was behind me, and the future, whatever it held, was mine to walk into alone, unafraid, untouchable, and free. Aiden reached for me, hesitated, then stopped. His hand fell to his side. And in that moment, I understood. I was no longer the Ren who had sent a desperate message in the dark. I was someone new. Someone whole. I didn't look back as I left the hall. Because this time, there was nothing left to lose, and nothing left to forgive.